What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Peon podcast. It's episode 26. Today on the show, we got, I'll try not to butcher his last name, Shom Mazumder. He is at Hags, New York City, and also doing a new pop-up called Ego Death in New York City. If you're in New York City and you want to have a good time and eat some trash, that'll come up that'll make more sense once you listen to the interview. But if you'd like to eat some trash, check him out, Ego Death NYC on Instagram. He's having his first pop-up on the 18th. That's in a couple days. So yeah, get your tickets if there's some available. Go check it out, But there's certain ways that I kind of find people to talk to on this podcast, and it seems like there's a few avenues. It's like either somebody I know, somebody I reach out to, or it's somebody that follows me, right? And I saw Shom's Ego Death account followed me on Instagram, and I was immediately like, who the fuck is this? And he's such a cool dude that I just messaged him, was like, hey, you want to come on a podcast and have a little conversation? He was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Why not? And the reason that I was so interested is because I'm a sucker for any sort of metal or punk sort of aesthetic when it comes to restaurants, because everything's so typical, and I get it, you're supposed to please your dining public and make it welcoming and stuff like that, but I'm a fan of anything that's like a fucking middle finger to the establishment or anything like that. And, because for one, it's different, and two, I think people are kind of the right crowd is attracted to, I don't want to say the right crowd, but, a certain crowd is attracted to that sort of mentality because it is different. It's outside of the norm. And also, people, I don't think people really care that much. Of course, you're gonna scare away the the oldies and people who are uncomfortable by the environment, but that's not for them anyway. So if you're blasting some Death Grips or some fucking Power Trip or some Dying Fetus or whatever it is in the dining room, you're gonna attract the crowd that you want to attract. So and I kind of like that, and as opposed to just trying to get in as many people as you physically can. I don't know. That's just the way I think of it. So I saw his Ego Death logo and I was like, I got to talk to this dude. This is awesome. And we're down for the conversation. So yeah, that's coming up in a little bit. Before we get to the interview, as you've probably heard before if you listen to the last few episodes, but things have been kind of inconsistent with the podcast just because I'm planning this trip. And speaking of that trip, I leave tomorrow. So things are going to be kind of inconsistent just because of the way my life is right now and where I'm at. And I'm fine with that. I'd rather wait until I have something interesting, an interesting, conversation or something to post. And so it's going to be kind of sporadic for a bit, hopefully I'll have something to post while I'm in Asia, but we'll see. I got a few things maybe lined up, but I'm just flying by the seat of my pants with this trip. So yeah, I leave tomorrow for it's like almost like a 2-day long trip to get to Korea. I will be spending some time in Seoul. Then I'm off to Vietnam, where I spend about 2 weeks, and then Japan for another 2 weeks, something like that, roughly. But if you'd like to follow my travels, and or just are interested at all in hearing about the trip, I'm going to be posting some stuff to the Patreon. So feel free to subscribe to the Patreon. That is Peon Magazine. So patreon.com/Peon Magazine. And I usually just put this stuff up for the $5 and $10 tiers, just because I feel like the $3 tier is just kind of like, hey, support me. It's the support tier, right? But the $5 and $10 tiers are like, extra content kind of thing. So if you'd like to follow my travels and hear some of the stories and things like that as they happen, go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon. those will be like kind of off the cuff episodes. I'm not sure what they look like, whether it's going to be writing or podcast. Probably podcast because they're just a little bit easier to make and then put out. They're off the cuff and really easy to tell stories on. So follow the Patreon if you're interested in that. If you're not interested in sending me any money or spending any money on this content, then I will be posting stuff on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. That is Peon Magazine as well on Instagram. Most of that stuff is going to be kitchen related. I love finding little glimpses into the world, the kitchen world in the places that I travel. If you follow me and you saw me in New Orleans, you saw a little bit of that stuff. I love finding little glimpses into that world because I don't speak Korean or Vietnamese, and I don't speak enough Japanese to have full-on, interviews with people. My idea is to find some expats or people that do speak English, but since I can't do that, the only glimpse I have into that world is finding little, doors that are open or little alleyways or windows and things. So I'm going to try and find some glimpses into that world while I'm there. And if you'd like to see those, it'll be on Instagram. If you want to follow my personal account, if you know, you know. I'm the real salami boy. If you don't, then you don't know. Well, now you know. So that happens tomorrow. We'll see how things go. Or when the next, I'll also post if I post something on Patreon, I'll also post on Instagram. Actually, speaking of that, I recently secretly posted a new mini episode on Patreon. That was a funny conversation that I had with a guy at a bar in New Orleans. I don't know if I'll be doing these a lot. I mean, as much as I can, because I never even thought about this before. I hear so many stories. People tell me stories all the time, not just because I tell them that I do a podcast and that I'm looking for stories, but people just hear that you're a cook or you're a chef or whatever, and they all of a sudden just start telling you stories, which is what happened in this case. But also, people in the industry just start telling you stories too, and it's stuff that I wish I could record, but you're at a bar or whatever. So anyway, in New Orleans, I was at Snake and Jake's bar, which is a fantastic bar. And the bartender was asking where we're from and what we do. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm a chef in Austin. And this guy next to us, this dude was like pounding whiskey and gingers. It was crazy. He had like 3 in the span of like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. So he's getting fucking wasted. And he heard us, and he started just blathering about like being a chef. And I just hit record on my phone, on my voice memos. So if you'd like to hear that, also subscribe to the Patreon. It's like a 9-minute episode of this guy and his travels in Miami being a chef, and it's kind of funny. So who knows if I'll do more of those, just if I can, place the mic without somebody hearing it or noticing it, then I probably will if it's an interesting interaction, and I'll just post those on Patreon. So what else? Man, I think that might be it. Wow, it's crazy. It's crazy thing. I leave tomorrow. Lastly, new shit up on the store. I got some trucker hats up there. I'm putting them up because people keep requesting them. They're not tested, I'll be honest. I haven't. The ones that I recently tested are for a new farm logo. And they need some tweaks, so I won't be selling those quite yet, but the other logos of Peon will be up with the trucker version hats because people keep requesting them. But just to be honest with you, those have not been tested, so the design could look a little bit wonky. Hopefully it doesn't, because those are tested designs. But because it's on a new product, it might look a little bit different than the other designs that I have tested. So just to be transparent, if you do buy those, it could look a little bit off. Just let me know. If it's off and you're not happy with it, just text me. I'll reimburse you for it. I'd rather people be happy with the shit. And those will be up hopefully today. I'll have them up today before I take off, and I'll post it on Instagram. And yeah, what else, man? I think that's about it, you know? Okay, before we get into the episode, go follow. I know I already said at the beginning, but, go follow Shom. His new pop up, Ego Death, is focused on utilizing trash and waste, and which is something I very much interested in. I love that kind of shit. So, yeah, follow Ego Death NYC on Instagram. And if you're in the New York area, he's having a dinner on Wednesday, $60 a person. Check it out, all right. Next time you hear from me, I will be in Asia. Enjoy the episode. I'll see you next time. Okay, and you're in Brooklyn, is that right?
I'm in Eastville, in Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I gotta commend you on the your anytime I see like death metal or like any sort of metal-esque thing used for promoting a restaurant, I'm a sucker for it.
Nice.
And
Same.
yeah, because like I'm just like I'm so tired of like the typical kind of thing that's going on with restaurants, or like big design groups designing restaurants and stuff. Like most cooks just want a restaurant that like looks like BAM, or like yeah, it's just a big fuck you kind of thing. I don't know. That's the way I take it.
Another band tee to put in the closet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how did you settle on that sort of aesthetic?
I feel like for me, it's just I don't know. All the logos look really boring.
You mean, wait, you mean your logos, or you mean most logos about like restaurant logos?
Most logos look pretty,
yeah, for sure.
pretty like, I don't know. They all look the same.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. I listen to a lot of like hardcore and metal and punk and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of other cooks do too.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, take that.
So what's you got your first pop-up coming up here soon, right? What's
Yeah, it's gonna be next week actually. So I got a hefty prep list.
So is it just you doing the whole thing?
It's me and my friend from the city here. We're gonna riff on it together.
Nice.
I'll just have him in for like the day. I'm not gonna put him through having to do too much prep, but we'll work service together.
Yeah, are you gonna be like blasting some metal and shit in the dining room?
I don't know. So the place is kind of like a very chill, like neighborhood wine bar thing.
Okay.
So I will see if I can sneak some of that in. Maybe toward the end of service.
Yeah.
People to leave too.
Yeah, I feel like no one wants to listen to metal and stuff while they're dining, except for maybe cooks. Maybe.
Yeah, except for me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Let's start at the beginning. What was your first job in the service industry?
First job. So I worked as like a barista in college. Well, actually, I don't know if you would call. If I would put it this way, I used to work as a caddy in high school, and that
like a golf caddy?
Yeah, golf caddy.
Yeah, my sister.
That I would call my first service industry job, because you really get to see how people treat one another.
Yeah. Wait, why did you choose a caddy?
My friend was doing it, and he was like, "Oh, the money's good. You only have to work like 4 hours. The catch is you got to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning."
Yeah. What? But do you have any interest in golf, or you didn't?
No, absolutely not. I hate golf.
So when they were asking you for
easy money, so
yeah, did they ask you for any like advice and stuff?
Yeah, and
caddies just like you didn't try to bullshit them at all.
Oh yeah, I bullshit every time. I was like, I could not even tell you. Like, I don't know jack shit about golf at all.
Did you give them the wrong like clubs and stuff like that?
I'm sure I did.
The 3-iron.
Sure. Yeah. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Where was this? Was this New York as well?
No, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. So
oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
That was back in like suburban Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
So I like to consider that my first service job. But then in college, I worked as a barista the whole time, working
Yeah.
coffee, which was fun.
Was it
Um,
like a upscale coffee place or
no,
more
it
like
was like the
Starbucks
college,
chemist?
like shitty coffee shop.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was not
Everybody's just studying.
good. Yeah, it was like a place to study and hang out, and but it was like one of the few coffee shops on campus, or like around campus. So it was very
Okay.
busy all the time.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that, or did you find any sort of
Oh yeah, I loved
interest in
baristaing. I
coffee?
would totally go back
Yeah.
to coffee if I could one day,
Really?
but like I
Okay.
cannot wake up that early.
I know. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like
Yeah,
I was always like, "Oh, that looks like fun," but there's no fucking way I'm waking up that early.
yeah, and also to like wake up that early and then have like 40 people line out the door,
Yeah.
all wanting
Yeah.
like a different drink with all these
Yeah.
modifications. Like it sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine on college campus too, it's a lot of, like, vanillas and
Oh
syrup
yeah,
and
oh
things like
yeah,
that. Yeah, which seems like a fucking nightmare, especially when you're trying to wake up.
yeah, total nightmare. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
barely awake. Like I don't know how I'm gonna get through this,
Yeah.
but it always ends, which is the nice part about this line
That's
of
a good way
work.
that's a good way to think of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always going to end. The shift
it
is always
always
ending.
ends, even when it doesn't feel like it's gonna end.
And oh, yeah. That's a very good way to think about it. It's like, uh, nihilistic or, like, defeatist
Oh
positivism.
yeah, I mean, you just gotta submit to the will. You-
Yeah.
There's nothing
What,
you can do about it, but that's half the fun
yeah,
of
for
it.
sure. Yeah. What, how long did you stay there?
So I did that for like 3-ish years. Then I tried to like go out on my own with the buddy and like do a little coffee cart
Wait,
thing.
what did you go to, college for? Was it any hospitality
No,
management or something like that?
I thought I was gonna be a diplomat
What?
when I
No
was
way. I've never
younger.
heard anybody say that. What do you
Yeah.
mean? Like, what's the track for that?
I studied like international relations. I was in DC.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Okay.
I thought I was
Alright,
gonna
well
go that route.
okay.
And then I feel like I kind of caught the service bug there.
Huh. Okay, well, that's interesting. Like, were you pretty, like, buttoned up and, like, studying pretty hard, but then on the side, you were, like had this, like, metal side to yourself or what? It's like
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't say I was like an incredible student. I think I spent a little too much time doing all the extracurriculars.
Yeah, I was the same way, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I was just like, I mean, I love traveling, and I feel like for me, I was like, I really want to see the world. So this seems like
Yeah.
oh, you get paid to see the world.
Huh.
Sick.
Okay.
But then I was like, actually, I don't know if working for the U.S. government is the way to
Yeah,
go.
that's a hell of a way to see the world. It seems
Yeah,
like, it seems like a rough existence. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, yeah. The more I learned about it, it's like, yeah, you got to spend 2 years at a time just stamping like visas in the middle of nowhere.
God
It's
damn.
not as
Yeah.
glamorous as it sounded at first.
Did you end up graduating with it? With that degree?
Yeah,
I mean, you just said
and
fuck it after that?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I actually went to grad school. After that, I was like, okay, so I'm not going to do that. Then I was like, maybe I'll become a professor. And then did grad school for 5 years, and that
No
was
way, man.
yeah.
Okay. Damn, was that the same time you were doing the coffee thing? Like, you said you and your
No, the
buddy
coffee
started a
thing like went up in flames in like 2 months. So it was like we had a
Oh,
great idea, got it.
when was this? Was this right after your undergrad?
Yeah, this is like right at the end, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a buddy of mine. We were like, oh man, the coffee around here is shit. We can do it better.
Yeah.
And then we were doing that and making a little like boozy coffee stuff on the side, little bootleg situation. And then we like brought in somebody who we thought was gonna like handle all the business stuff for us and like didn't do shit. and yeah, the whole thing kind of fell apart. But one day maybe it'll come back.
Damn. Did you buy all the equipment and everything? The
Yeah, we bought a
thousand.
lot of shit. We bought a
God
lot of
damn.
coffee. It was kind of
Yeah.
sad.
Did you end up having? You still have coffee from that time? It's like
Oh no, not
grinding
anymore. We
something.
just we ended up just having a party and just blew all the coffee on like this like coffee moonshine. So one last hurrah. But
That's
lesson
okay.
learned. Lesson
Yeah.
learned.
Sounds amazing. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. Wait, so after that you went to grad school. So you weren't burned at all by uh that incident? Did you end up staying in the service industry? Like working?
Um, Definitely a little burned. I took a break. I was just like focusing on grad school for a bit, and then I started. I guess I went back in working front of house, like toward the end of school. So I was like, okay, what if I went back into this? Uh,
Okay. It was a server job or a
yeah, it
bartender
was
job?
a server job. Well, I mean, the big thing was like during grad school, I feel like I spent half my time just cooking. So I was like, okay,
You mean
maybe this
at
is
at home, you mean?
yeah, at home, like,
Oh, okay.
throwing like dinner parties and stuff like that. I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign.
That's a pretty
Maybe I'm
big
on to
sign, yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So
And
wait, what was that server job?
the server job, it was like in like a little like French restaurant in Boston. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it was a great place. I feel like I learned a lot. Um, but I feel like my real intention was like to try to get into the kitchen, but there was no opening. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll work as a
Oh, okay.
server and like hang it until something opens up.
Yeah, yeah. That's a crazy way to get into the the kitchen.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
I feel
mean,
like
when you have no kitchen experience, like you end up
feels like
doing crazy shit to
for
get
sure, yeah, yeah,
started.
but I feel like cooks are, like, so protective of, like, anybody coming back there, especially front of
Oh,
house,
yeah. I mean,
trying to
this
be
place was,
buddy-buddy
like, a
and
little more,
yeah,
like, civilized, like, it was definitely a little more of, like, a whole
yeah.
house mentality. It
Oh,
wasn't
that's cool.
like, I think,
Alright.
like, the sous chef started off as, like, front of house and, like, my
Oh, okay, so he
back.
understood.
So there was a lot of, like and it was, like, a no tipping place, so, like, it
Oh, okay.
was it was a kumbaya scenario over there.
A little more progressive.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the clientele like in Boston? Was
Um,
I've
it
I've
was
heard
interesting. It was a
mixed
lot
things
of
about
like
Boston.
locals. I think like it was definitely like a neighborhood spot.
Oh, okay.
Um, like big brunch scenario there,
Ooh, yeah.
which you know, yeah. I mean, don't want to say too much about brunch, but
What do you mean? Like,
like,
you can shit talk brunch all you want.
I mean, it's. I hated working that shift. Like working
Yeah,
brunch
it's the
sucks.
worst. It's terrible.
Uh, But I mean, fortunately, the clientele is like pretty good. It was a lot of families, so
Mm.
it was a lot of like parents who were like, "This is my 2 hours. I get to go out outside
Oh,
the
at
house."
brunch? Yeah, and they get
Yeah.
yeah, they get a
So
little
you know what? Like,
tipsy.
can't say no to that. Ain't nothing wrong.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it, or were you trying to get out as soon as possible?
Um, I was definitely trying to clock out as soon as possible. um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it was like good coworkers and stuff, but I
Uh-huh.
think I was like, I'm not sure this is like really for me.
Yeah. Did you manage to get in the kitchen there, or did you
No. I was there for like maybe 4 or 5 months, and then I ended up moving to New York with the intention of like, all right, I'm gonna do the thing, work in kitchens in New York, and then
Damn.
fucking COVID happens.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, so I moved like to New York literally the first week of March 2020.
Jesus.
And
Alright.
I was
Okay.
like, all right, I'm here. A week later, whole city shuts down. I'm like,
Wait, so did you go wait, did you have any kitchen experience before you moved to New York to
no,
do that?
no.
What?
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
It's
I
insane.
mean, whatever. It is what it
I mean,
is.
everybody talks about like New York is like if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, right? But you
Something
wanted to
like that. I
start there. God damn.
don't know.
All right.
But I guess, maybe for me, I lucked out, shortage of workers. But
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I,
So
yeah,
hmm,
that was a crazy time. That was very weird.
wait.
Bad timing on my part.
Well, it's not. I mean, nobody really knew, but uh, so what did you do? Because I don't think restaurants fully opened back up until I want to say like I don't remember. It's a blur, but like at least like 3 to 6 months after. So what did you do? How did you get in there?
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, fortunately, I like came there with like an
Oh,
office
okay.
job with kind of the intention of
I
like
see. Okay.
quitting very quickly. um, and then yeah, so I just stuck it out with that. It was like a
Okay.
9 to 5er, a computer job, working at home
Yeah.
all day, which sucked, but it was a
Uh-huh.
job, so I stuck with it. And then once things like started opening back up a little bit, I want to say this is like summer of 2021,
Wait, so you stayed at that job
I
for
think.
2 years then? Waiting for everything to open back up? Damn, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So then summer of 2021, when like places were like
Uh-huh.
actually like hiring again, I started off as a dishwasher in this like little, it's like a pop-up restaurant kitchen in the basement of like a
Okay.
food
Wow.
hall. It was real depressing
That
vibes, but I was
sounds
like, all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
the only job I can get. I'll start as a dishwasher here, whatever.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
Alright. Wait, so what kind of food was that? What does
Yeah.
that
So it started off, they just had, so it's like attached to a wine shop there. So like they pour some of the stuff from the wine shop and then um, they also like hosted like pop up residency type stuff,
Okay.
like guest chef stuff. Um, so yeah, they're like, we need like a prep cook
Yeah.
and dishwasher. I was like, I'm your man.
Damn.
I'll do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Sure.
Gotta start somewhere. So yeah, did that. So at that point I was like working my 9 to 5 like during the week and
God
then
damn,
working
dude.
that on
Okay.
weekends. Um and then there was no chef for a second when I first started. Like it was just like really like just sandbagging a bunch of small plates that like the
Give
front of
out.
house would
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
put on a plate and go. Um and then eventually with some good luck actually, a chef took over as like the resident chef, Sonny Lee, who had this pop-up Banchan by
Okay.
Sunny. It's like a Korean
Oh,
Banchan pop-up. She's now the chef, like the exec chef at this place in Brooklyn now, doing that stuff. But I was fortunate to like have her come take over the helm, and yeah, that's when I like really got to like see some cool stuff. So even though it was a very depressing job at
that's
first, it
yeah,
turned into
that's
something
some good
pretty
luck.
good, actually. Yeah, some
So,
great luck. Yeah.
how much if you don't mind me asking, how much were
Uh,
you making at that job? Like, I can't imagine what dishwasher, prep cook makes in New York.
it was not that bad actually because we also had to do like food running, so we were
Oh,
able to get in the tip pool. So it was like it ended up being like maybe
that's
20 an
pretty decent for
hour,
that job, yeah.
20 something an hour. I was like, for a job that is pretty
Yeah.
easy, like I'll take
Yeah.
it.
What was your experience level, I guess, when you went into that kitchen? Because you said you did some pop-ups and stuff, but, aside from that
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I didn't go to I was like, there's no way I'm going back to school ever again. So
yeah.
culinary school is out, and no way I'm going into
Yeah,
debt
don't
trying
do it.
to do culinary school. I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I honestly spent a lot of it just when I was in
Okay.
Boston, just kind of teaching
How
myself
did you do that? Were you just watching videos? Are you
to
reading a lot of
do
books?
his videos,
Best way,
fucking up a
yeah,
lot.
sure.
Um, like, yeah, cookbooks. Just like, I feel like a lot of it was also just like, whenever I go out to eat, I would like kind of try to really
Yeah,
understand what's going on. What exactly are the components here? How are
yeah,
they like actually prepared? Um, what are the cooking techniques that are kind
yeah.
of like the staples? So, I mean, a lot of that was just
Okay,
like teaching myself
yeah. So you had
at
some
first.
pretty some decent knife skills and understanding by the time you got to that job?
I mean, my knife skills were like not amazing,
Okay,
but not
okay.
terrible. They're all right, like
How
like
did
good
that
enough.
chef take you when she first came in?
I mean, I think it seemed like she
Okay.
was just happy for the help. Like she was doing like a lot of this on her
Oh,
own
wow.
for a long
Okay.
time. I mean, she's a total crusher. Like I've never like
Yeah,
absolute prep god. Like I've never seen anybody just
yeah.
absolutely
Bonchon's a lot
demolish
of
a
prep,
prep
so I
list
can't. Yeah,
so
yeah.
hard. Like her. I mean, she's been like cooking in
Okay,
New York for a long time. Like she's worked at all these like crazy spots and for all these fancy chefs and stuff. So she has a crazy wealth of
okay.
knowledge. So it was kind of a nice little coincidence to be able to like have someone like that come
Yeah.
in and
Wow,
be
that's
like a
amazing. Do you
mentor.
still hang out with her and talk to her? Yeah, that's awesome.
For sure, yeah. I just visited her at her where she's kind of posted up permanently right now a couple weeks
That's
ago,
awesome.
and she's
Okay.
crushing it.
Did how long do you stay at that spot?
I was there, I want to say like summer until like the Omicron wave, where
Okay.
basically
Oh, yeah.
like everything shut down
Yeah,
again.
that didn't really
And
happen
I
in
was like,
Austin too much. People were kinda, like, pushing back a little bit. I
yeah, that's what I mean, it felt like so weird during that time because it was like
Oh,
everybody
really?
I knew got COVID. Like every day you'd get a text like, "Yo, I got COVID."
Yeah.
From somebody. And like as soon as like my chef had gotten COVID, I was like, all right, it's my time. My time has come. And so yeah, they had to shut down. Like the whole city pretty much shut down in December, January
And that was
again.
2021?
Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that was 2021
Okay.
going into 2022.
Damn. What did you
Yeah,
do?
and
Did the restaurant just
then
shut down? Do you guys do outdoor seating or to-goes or what situation?
no, I mean the place was like
Okay.
it's like in a basement of like a food hall, so like there was no question
Damn.
of outdoor anything. So yeah, they shut it down. Um, yeah, and then I was like, I guess that's time to go on to the
Okay.
next thing. So I ended up taking a job at this Vietnamese
Oh,
restaurant
nice. Okay.
in Brooklyn. So I was like curious about
Is it like a high-end
that
Vietnamese
food.
spot or just affordable?
It's a
Okay. I
highbrow,
like that.
lowbrow Vietnamese spot. Like it was kind of a staple with the previous owner. Like it was kind of like a pho
Okay.
focused joint, and then eventually like the new chef who took over like had worked at he's
Okay.
Vietnamese Mexican, and he took over the lease once the old owner was like
Uh-huh.
calling it in.
Was the older owner like an
Um,
old guy?
and he had worked at like Blue
Oh,
Hill,
damn.
Mission
That's amazing.
Chinese, all that stuff.
Was the old owner
Yeah,
like an older guy and then he
yeah,
just like oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think he was just
Okay. So
retiring
it's been around for a
pretty
while
much.
then.
And so the new
Okay.
chef, Eric Tran,
Alright.
yeah, took over the keys and kind of like flipped the menu. So they started doing like Vietnamese Mexican food. 'Cause that's his heritage. And there's like a tasting, like a 6, 8 course tasting
Damn.
menu.
That's Oh, on top
there
of
as
an a la
well.
carte kind of situation? Damn. And that's where you're at right now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's where
Okay.
I was at
Well,
in January till like
wait,
I
what
don't
was
even
what was that jump like? Because you went
remember.
from just prepping and like to
Yeah, they threw me
damn,
right on grill there, which was kind of
that's insane. Did
which is
they
kind of
like
crazy.
what kind of grill was
It
it?
was very
Was it fire
insane.
grill or
Well, at first they're like,
okay.
"All right, you're gonna work garde and then I was like, "Okay, chill." Then they're like, "Actually, you're gonna work grill."
God
I
damn.
was like, "Fuck." But I learned a lot really fast there. I mean, I would say like at that point in my career, like I was still pretty bad.
Yeah,
Like I was not amazing in any sense at all. But I feel like, when you're working station like that, like you're
yeah,
like forced
exactly.
to get pretty
Are you
good
gonna sink? Yeah.
pretty
Yeah. Wait.
fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna go down in
What
flames,
did you
literally.
learn any like because there's a huge difference between home cooking and like working a station like that where you have to be prepared for anything. Did you did you have that knowledge or
Yeah.
did they sort of like guide you along for that?
I mean, they definitely like guided me along. I feel like that is probably the first job where I like learned how to like
Okay.
really move in a kitchen. Like how to like really
Yeah.
like set up a station, how to think about like timing
Yeah.
fires, all of that, like what you can sandbag, what you
Yeah.
can't sandbag, like all that stuff. So the stuff that like, I feel like up until then, like I still
Okay.
had like a home cook mentality. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing, and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
do that thing, and then I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this thing, and then I'm like, 3 hours later, I have
Yeah.
dinner. And I feel like that was the restaurant where I first really learned, like, all right, so actually, I'm going to be
At one
working
time.
10
Yeah.
different things on this grill.
Yeah.
And I need to know how long each thing takes so I can tell my station partner, like, all right,
Yeah.
here's where I'm at, or something's coming off
Yeah.
2 stations, like,
Little crossfire. Yeah.
do that. So
How did
that
that
was a
go?
learning lesson. um, It was, like, okay for a while, and then I feel like I
Uh-huh.
eventually got, like, pretty good at it. Um, because, I mean, the menu didn't change a ton, most of the stuff, but it was a lot of, like, you know, "Alright, well, we got this protein in today, we're gonna cook it on the grill like this," like, and you just find
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
as
I've
you're
been there.
picking it
Yeah, for
up.
sure.
Yeah. So I feel like by the end, there's like a lot more of that type of stuff, which I
I feel
mean, I
like
felt like
that's
that was
better
good
though,
to learn. Like,
than like having to worry about it before it happens. If they just throw it on the station, you just have to figure it out. Like, yeah, you're like, all right,
yeah, they're
fuck
like
it,
grill these
I'm just
scallops.
gonna
I'm
do
like,
it. Yeah, you don't have a second to
okay,
think about it or
sure,
overthink it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I did that, and then in the summer, I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed working there, and the sous chef there at the time when
Uh-huh.
I was working there was an awesome guy. I really loved working with him, and he was definitely
Yeah.
a really good mentor. Probably had a little too many beers after
That's part
working
of
with
it. Yeah.
him, but
Did that take a little bit of a learning curve too,
yeah.
or uh, do grad school students drink a lot too? I don't really know actually, because drinking in the service
Um,
industry.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
drinking
For
in
sure.
grad school versus line cooking. Um, but also not that dissimilar because it's always
Yeah,
usually you're
exactly. It's
fucking
just
bitching
yeah,
about
you're just
something.
bitching or yeah, talking shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
or talking shit. Yeah, so I worked there, and then I was like, "All right, I need to like level up and learn like really how to like work tight and clean." I mean, like the food there at the spot I was at the Vietnamese spot was like incredible. I think
Uh-huh.
probably some of the best food in the city. But it was not
Okay.
like the tightest
Yeah.
kitchen in New York by any chance. And I was like, "All right, I'm pretty new at this, like, and I need to like learn some
Yeah.
good habits first, and like how to really like
That's a
cook
good
clean and
that's a really
tight."
good thing to realize for sure.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise I was like, I'm gonna be going down in
Yeah.
flames somewhere, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be bad. So yeah, did that. Then I moved to this wine bar, Four Horsemen,
Okay. I've heard
um,
about that place. Yeah.
owned by the singer of LCD Sound System.
Yeah. 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 Wow, dude. Wait. Before we get to that, did you stage any places, or what was your like decision process there? Because New
No, that
York
was the
is
only place I
that was
staged.
it.
I was like, all right, I want to work here.
Oh, really? So you just went straight for that? You gunned for that? Wow. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
What made
yeah.
you choose that place? Because I mean, New York's full
Um,
of amazing, like tight, incredible restaurants. And
I think it was just like I had dined there once, and
okay.
it was really
Uh
good,
huh.
like very, very good. I thought the hospitality there was cool too,
Uh
like
huh.
just like really on point. Like the whole thing
Okay.
just seemed like a really tight ship. Um, and I don't know. At that point, I feel like I was very interested in like wine
Yeah.
bar style food, that type of cooking. And so I was like, this seems like manageable potentially, but I think I'll learn a lot of like
Did
good
you?
habits and stuff here. So it kind
Yeah.
of
Did you
seemed
feel
like
any
the
sort of
right fit.
anxiety or about moving too far, like up in terms of like quality and stuff? Yeah. I felt that
Oh
for a
hell
long
yeah!
time. Yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
anxious.
Yeah. I was like,
Um,
yeah.
no, yeah. I mean, when I got there, I don't know. Yeah, it was. I was like,
Damn.
this place
Okay.
is fucking
Okay. So
hardcore. Actually,
so did you stage there at all, or did they just give you the job?
yeah, there was a. It's like it was like a 2 day
What?
trail or
2 day
something,
stage.
and then
Damn. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
2 days. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. It's like the show up, pick herbs, do whatever project that one of the line cooks doesn't want to do probably.
Yeah. Exactly.
um,
What do
and
you do on that
then
second day though?
the second day, you just like do that again and like hang around for service.
Okay.
Um,
All right. All right.
but it's a tight kitchen, so it definitely felt a little weird hanging around in service because it's like a 3-person line. It's like an
Damn.
apartment size kitchen. Like
Damn.
I don't know how
Okay.
they did what they did there, but it's pretty impressive.
Okay.
Uh,
Damn. Yeah. So you got the job?
got the job. Started there. I'm not gonna lie, I was horrible. I was so bad. It was
Yeah.
terrible. Like I was so spun out every day. So I had gone from like a place where like your station is more or less prepped out for you already. Uh,
Oh, okay. And then you just work service?
you just like ride in for service and break down
Ooh.
and like
Yeah.
work on the prep
Yeah.
list for the next day. And then there, it's like, all right, you show up, you prep out your station. You have to worry
Yeah.
about your orders off your station. Then you got to work service. Then you got to
Yeah.
like write your prep list for the next day. So like, I was like, there's so much happening
God
right
damn.
now.
Yeah. They threw you right in.
Yeah,
That's
they
crazy.
really throw you right in. And like, I am like, when I'm definitely like a nervous prepper. So like I'm like, all right, I need to have a backup. Then I need to have a backup to my backup.
Yeah.
Reason
Yeah. Yeah.
plus, like so, I don't think I like prepped very smart. So like time management was very bad. Then I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I gotta like figure out what I gotta order for tomorrow. I didn't keep track of that. And I'm like, oh god,
Damn.
yeah, it was bad. But
Yeah.
I feel like I met like really, really just like some of the best cooks in the city there. Like best
Okay.
people to work with, like and then like best people just like as friends there. So
Yeah.
who build me out quite a bit when I
Nice.
first
Did
started.
you did you did you improve while you were there? Do you feel like you improved?
I feel like I definitely improved. I think for me, it's like I was so in my head there all day,
Yeah.
every day. And like that's like
Yeah.
your enemy when you're on
Exactly.
the line. Like
For
being in
sure.
your head
Yeah.
is just it's a death sentence.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure, man. So what ended up happening there?
So then I like I was just yeah, it was just like not working out. Like it was like the wrong place, wrong time for
Yeah.
me. So it was just
Yeah.
like I needed something different. Like I was when it was the point of like having like stress dreams and stuff every night. It was like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, what were your stress dreams? Because for me, it's like falling or like running from stuff.
oh, mine was perpetually like, oh, I forgot to order this. Like,
Do you
or
ever
put this
wake?
on
Did
the
you ever wake up like at 3 a.m. or something like that? And you're like,
oh
oh
yeah,
shit.
every time. Every time. And I like go to
Yeah.
text the sous chef. I'm like, okay, this is a bad idea. There are like times where I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna go to the like grocery store and hand shop it on my way to work.
How did they take that?
Oh, they never find out. Well, I guess they
Oh
might
shit.
if they listen to this.
Hey, at least you fixed the problem, right? You
Yeah,
didn't just
but
like,
I was like, all right,
yeah.
whatever. I forgot to order limes. Fuck it. I'll just go buy some.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you ever get chewed out for that kind of for not having something ordered?
yeah. I mean, stuff
That
like
happened a
I
lot.
remember there was like some. I felt so bad. There was like dulse, like one of the dishes like had dulse powder on it, and like you can't
Okay.
find that shit anywhere.
Oh
There's
yeah,
like
if you're not like
two
ordering it ahead.
stores that sell it, so
Uh-huh.
it was like right during service. I thought I had saw it's like one of
Oh
those things where you thought
yeah.
you saw something, then you like
Yeah.
actually open it and you're like, that's not actually
Oh.
it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. You're like, no, I saw it up there, and then somebody goes, look, they're like, this is not there. It
this
doesn't
is
exist.
not that. And then I
Yeah.
open the thing, I'm like, holy fuck, it's not there.
Oh
This is
shit.
like 10 minutes before service is about to start. Like
Oh god, dude, that
it
feeling.
was
You're like,
awful. It was
oh, this
so
is
bad. And
fucked.
then like I had to make my buddy who's gonna be helping me for this pop up fucking bike to go to the store and go get the fucking dulse
Oh,
powder.
damn. So you got it. You had
Yeah,
somebody to
we
go grab
ended
it.
up getting it, but
Damn, that's crazy.
it was so bad. But I mean, I made other fuck ups too on shit. Like definitely like one night where we had to like 86, like a mainstay, like a staple dish, because I didn't order it. And I was like,
Oh no, dude, that
that was bad.
feels horrible, dude. Well, now you won't make those mistakes again.
Now I'll never make that mistake again. I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
never 86ing a dish.
Yeah, I mean that's the one benefit of those making those huge mistakes is that you it's always stuck in the back of your head and always haunting you, so you're
Yeah.
never gonna
I
be able
feel like, for me, like, I feel like the biggest lessons for me were just like all the fuck ups I made there. And I made a ton. But now
oh,
I was like,
for
after
sure.
that job, I feel like I rolled into like all my trails after that. Just like, all right, I'm
Yeah.
never going to be in my head ever again. I'm just going to show up and be like, all right, I'll work a station for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, yeah. So
Damn.
even though that time was very stressful and probably, yeah, wasn't great, I feel like I learned a lot out of it.
Yeah.
I made
Yeah,
some
for
good
sure.
friends.
That's great. Where'd you go after that?
So then after that, I was like trailing around, just trying to figure out like what I really wanted out of cooking in a restaurant and stuff like that.
Mhm. What do you
Uh,
mean trailing around? Like you just went to a few spots and hung around or what?
no, I just like emailed a bunch of places and just like, hey, I'm interested in a job, and just kind of scheduled a bunch of trail just to like see. I mean, as we kind of talked about before, like I hadn't been to that
Uh-huh.
many spots. I was like, okay, I want to like see what places look like in the city. What's going on. I was like,
You're talking about higher end
yeah,
spots?
for just like working. And then
Okay.
I was like, all right, like, do I still want to work like, wine bar thing? Do I want to do like the tasting menu, Michelin stuff? Do I want to do like just like sling it somewhere and
Yeah.
just, yeah. So I took some time, went around a bunch of spots, and then ultimately settled on the place where I'm at now. It's called Hags. and
Okay.
it's like a little tasting menu spot. It's like 16 seats. Um, and they had opened like for a couple months and then had to close down. And then they're like reopening, looking for staff again. And I was like, all right, I think I'm like curious about this tasting menu thing.
Yeah.
Seems like kind of an interesting opportunity to like work on an opening team and
Yeah.
whatnot. So yeah, I ended up there.
So wait, you just wanted to work more tasting menu?
Yeah,
Uh,
I was like curious about like what's this all about? Like
it's
what's
definitely a different service, right? It's like,
very different service.
yeah, it's not as like hectic. Everything's not like, I don't know. Everything's a lot more smooth. It's like you know what you're expecting throughout the day,
Yeah.
right?
Well, when things go right,
Well,
it's
yeah,
very
for
smooth.
sure,
When things
for
go
sure.
wrong, it's horrible.
Yeah, yeah, for
That could
sure.
be said about anywhere, I guess.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah,
What
ended
kind
up
of
there
yeah?
and still there now.
How long you been there?
I think I just went past a year at this point there.
Nice, nice.
Um, yeah.
What kind of tasting menu is it? What kind of food?
So they have like a vegan and a non-vegan menu.
Okay.
Um, so it's like 6 courses, kind of like your standard format. Um, yeah, I thought. I mean, another thing that sounded like interesting to me was the vegan part of working
Yeah,
here. So there's not a ton of like fine
vegan.
dining
Yeah,
spots that are like vegan and
yeah, for
whatnot.
sure.
I mean, I guess there's like 11 Madison Park now, but I was like, there's no way I'm working there.
Yeah,
Place
don't
looks
do it.
whack.
Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
uh,
Yeah, yeah, for
so
sure.
this sounded like kind of a cool opportunity. I was like, this seems like a gap in like my knowledge. Like, I don't really know that much about vegan cooking.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I feel like
Yeah,
I can learn some cool stuff here.
I feel like a lot of vegan restaurants or people who cook vegan food don't make it its own distinct thing, which is my main gripe about it. It's like it's always trying to pretend to be like normal, like
Oh
meat
yeah, it's
and
like
food. You know what I mean?
imitation thing.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you went just more into the vegan side of it, I think it'd be a lot more interesting.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
totally like. There's no reason like where you gotta like turn something into a vegan
Yeah.
sausage. Like
Exactly.
the thing, like the like vegetables and shit are good. Like you don't need
Are
to
they're
like,
already yeah. They're already good enough. Yeah.
you don't need to
Exactly.
make it worse. Actually, like some of
Yeah.
that was like the stuff. Like I feel like that's a commonly held belief about vegan or vegetarian cooking, where it's like it's like your seitan sausage or whatever. It's like the
Yeah.
shit you see in Trader Joe's or whatever, where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like yeah, even vegans don't like that shit. Like nobody likes
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been
Is that
interesting to like learn how to really. I feel like it really forces you to learn how to like cook well.
y
Like sometimes, like when you
yeah.
have a steak or something, it's just like, all right, you just sear it in a pan real quick
Yeah.
and just like don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think, like, you guys also have really good produce, in New York too, so you're kinda
Yeah, I
lucky
mean
in
the
that sense.
produce, like yeah, there's like a farmers market and everything. Produce is generally pretty good here. Like Hudson Valley produce in New Jersey is actually
Yeah.
pretty good. Probably might be the best thing coming out of Jersey is the produce.
That
Um,
and gasoline and Sopranos
yeah.
or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sopranos
Yeah.
definitely.
Um,
But
what kind of vegan food is it? You said it's tasting menu, right? So,
yeah, so it's like
you guys focus on
um
vegetables and kinda round it out that way?
yeah,
Because
I mean it's like vegetables, like vegan proteins and kind of like prepared in interesting ways, or like it's a lot of long cooking stuff, like really working to
braises and
like
stuff?
develop flavor.
Okay.
Um there's I mean, we work a lot with tempeh at the
Mhm.
restaurant actually, just because it's like we're able to like source some really good stuff
Okay.
right now,
Yeah.
and like the product is like super good. It's super
Uh-huh.
fresh. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like the name of the game for us on vegan cooking is like, how do we generate the most flavor possible from stuff?
Mhm.
And it's like
Yeah.
that requires like, using a lot of different techniques, like doing some interesting sauce work, like all of that. So I think it does like challenge you to use, not rely on just one thing for a dish. Like it may require like multiple different techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty standard, like, tasting menu mentality. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah. How's it going with that? Because it's been open for a year, you said?
Yeah, it's been open
About a
for a
year?
little over a year now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, things are busy. I mean, it's funny because it's like it's a 16-seat restaurant where like it's busy if we have 25 covers, which is crazy to think. Like, I never
I
thought
know,
I'd
right?
say that. And I feel like I
Yeah.
doubted it when I started there. I was like, 25 covers? Easy. Like, gonna be phoning it in every night.
Yeah,
And I'm
but
like,
then when you think
25
about the
covers feels like
yeah.
200 right now.
Yeah, yeah. If what how many courses is it?
It's 6 courses.
Yeah.
And then we offer like a 4-course, like, vegan dessert tasting menu too.
uh Oh,
And then
damn,
there's
okay.
like supplements and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, so it's like people think that yeah, you always think it's like a small number, but then you do the math on how many dishes you're serving a night, you're like, "What? I serve
yeah, you
2,000
do the
dishes.
math on how
Fucking
many
crazy." Yeah,
dishes and then on
yeah.
how many touches each dishes gets, and you're like, holy
Exactly.
crap.
That's where it gets all complicated and wild, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Damn. Yeah. So, what was the impetus for Ego Death? Are you, just trying to
Yeah.
branch out or
I
trying to
feel
add your
like
workload, trying to have less of a personal life, or
yeah, that definitely. I feel like for me, part of it is kind of a response to what I feel like I've been seeing in my experience working in restaurants where like there's so much
Okay.
waste. Like
Yes, 100%,
I think
100%.
like the thing that maybe very few things piss me off, but the thing that pisses me off most is like when a place is like riding your ass for clocking out or like when you clock in, but then it's like half
Mhm.
the food is in the garbage.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's like
100%.
money you're throwing out in the garbage,
Yeah, and flavor, like, people
Yeah,
don't yeah.
exactly.
It's
Tons of
wild how much
flavor.
exactly, yeah, there's so much I mean, the restaurant I work at, I pretty much create most of the things that I do from trash. Like, I love just taking waste from other
Me
people's
too.
dishes and just making something from it. Because I'm not very good at creating something out of thin air, but if I have, like, this, and this, I can, like I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, I'll put it t together like this." But, and then it's way better than it going in the trash for sure.
Yeah, way better. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so part of that was like, man, I feel like every restaurant I've seen or been in, it's like there's so much trash. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
all right,
100%.
I'm
You could
gonna try to do something that like focuses on like how to make the trash good.
like, you could definitely, like I feel like you could go to pretty much every restaurant on a block in New York City, take all their trash, and then make, a whole restaurant from it,
Yeah,
probably.
I know. I'm sometimes I think about that. Like maybe that's the move. I'm like, food costs are gonna be zero.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So wait, is how are you gonna build a pop-up from are you building it from waste, or is that just your idea that your
So the
your goal?
idea is like using like all of the ingredients on one dish. So it's like, so like right now I have like an onion dish. So it's like I need onions, like nice petals and stuff for the garnish, but that creates a lot of trim. So I'm going to use for a stock. And then
Huh.
it's like I'm making soubise. And that also generates like, there's all the like trim or whatever,
Yeah,
cuts that you
paper
can't
and onion.
use that you
Yeah,
can use
yeah.
for other components. So it's like, hopefully it's like you don't see any of that onion in the trash, but it's like all on the plate. So that's kind of
Yeah,
like the idea,
yeah.
I'm able to work with right now. I think if I, had a much bigger operation and like
Yeah.
all the nice parts of having a restaurant and stuff. Like you could do a lot more, but right now I think the focus is like, all right, so like I have a chicken dish. How can I use all the scraps to make this like the most chickeny chicken dish I can?
Yeah.
So like none of that goes to waste here. So like I think
That's
part
good.
of it is like for me it's like a response to like the way in which places like menus even work in restaurants. Like in a lot of restaurants it's like you don't even have a spot for that type of like the trim and the waist and all
Mhm.
that stuff like on the menu because it doesn't fit for whatever reason, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
well, we
No, I
have
know what
this
you mean. Yeah.
dish and like that won't work with this dish, so goes in
Yeah.
garbage, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Dishes
So
or menus are built around like what people want to serve as opposed to
exactly. And it's like
utilizing waste. Yeah.
in a lot of ways, like I'm like, why are we doing that? Like I think we should or like I would prefer to just make a menu that's all encompassing. It's like you get
Yeah.
the entirety of that ingredient. And hopefully like I've done my job like cooking where it's like you feel like, whoa, you know, it's listed as a pepper on the menu, but like this is the most peppery pepper dish like I've ever had in my life. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
designing the menu around that, like ingredients rather than like dishes in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like that because I'm most proud of the stuff that I do when I'm like you take a dish out, it's like say a cheese, right? And then you later in the meal you tell them like bring the second dish out to the customer. You're like, oh, remember that cheese you had? Like we used the whey byproduct for
Yeah.
this, and with the potatoes you had, we used this the butts of that potato to do this, and like yeah, I think it's really interesting. People are like engaged in how the dishes like correlate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's like, and I find it like just intellectually interesting.
Yeah,
Like as a
yeah, for
puzzle, it's
sure.
like, how do I put all this together?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
all
true.
right, like I have these components, I have this trim, I have these scraps, I have this ferment, I have whatever this stock I made. It's like,
Mhm.
what is like an interesting way to like put this all together? And I feel like that can allow for a lot of creativity, even though there's a lot of like constraint imposed on it. It's like this is the
Mm.
box I'm gonna work in, but like I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm of the mindset that like any creativity and like cooking comes from working within a box. Like
Yeah, for
if you're
sure.
just like, I'm gonna do
More focused.
anything I want and I have access to anything I want, it's just like it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be
Yeah, I think it does get a little messy, yeah. The more interesting stuff is, yeah, when it comes from, like, some sort of constraint, for
yeah,
sure.
it's
At
like
least
this is the box I'm gonna work in. And it's like
yeah,
that
exactly.
generates like cool or interesting ideas. And
Yeah.
maybe like
Yeah,
not
for
all
sure.
of it works.
No, but
Not every idea is gonna work, but I
uh,
feel like even if a dish doesn't work, maybe there's like something like to
yeah,
tweak for next season. That's like, all right,
yeah.
this is
Or
how
at
I
least it's
made it.
more interesting than just, the typical sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also like I feel like a big impetus is just like I don't know, I guess it's like immigrant mentality. It's like you can't throw anything away. Like in that way I'm like
Okay.
I mean, I do this
Yeah.
shit at home too. I'm like, all right, if like my partner is like chopping scallions or something, like, wait, no, 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 keep the butts. Like, I'll use
Yeah,
it
like,
for soup or
hoarding
something.
yeah, hoarding all the scraps and
Yeah.
stuff.
And then I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
like freezers just like full of shit,
Packed full, yeah.
packed with shit.
Yeah. Well, I see you got the Noma book right there. You gotta start,
Oh
like,
yeah.
sous vide shit and, like, fermenting those get those books out of there and start fermenting shit up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
exactly.
What are you looking forward to with this dinner? You scared shitless or are you excited?
It's a little
Because
bit
it's
of both.
coming up in, like, a week
Yeah,
or so right
next
now?
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I think it's part of me is like, you know, I feel like I know I can make food taste good. I think the idea is more like does the at this point in like the pop up in the early stages, it's like does the idea come across? Like, does it make sense? Like, is this
Hmm.
a convincing like thesis?
Really? Is that how people think about pop-ups in New York? Because in Austin, it's mainly just like it's a way to just get your food out there. I don't think people think
Yeah, but I
too
feel
much
like
about
there's
it.
so many pop-ups in New York. It's like you
Yeah,
really need like some sort of strong concept. Like
yeah, for
there, I
sure.
mean, I don't think like I'm no bigwig chef, so I can't just be like, "Yo, it's me. I'm popping."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think people are more attracted to an idea anyway. Like
Yeah. So I
if they
think
start
that's
hearing about something.
the trying to get some data on that, like, is this a
Okay.
interesting idea to people? Is
Okay.
this worth pursuing? But also it's like, I don't know, it's nice to like cook your own food too. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
that'll be cool.
When was the last time you put your own food out there?
It's been a while. Like I feel like, I've had some dishes on the menu at the spot I'm
Mhm.
working at now. So
Yeah.
like that is definitely like an interesting process of like putting your own food out there,
Yeah.
especially like in the format of a tasting menu where I'm like, whoa, people are paying a lot of money,
Yeah.
and like I'm always like, it's not good enough. Like
Well,
it can
that's a good
always be
mentality to have.
changed.
Yeah.
Like I would
Yeah.
change this or I would change that or like there's
Mhm.
always something to improve.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I feel like this is different in the sense of like it's got my name on it now
Yeah.
specifically. So it's like at the restaurant at the restaurant, it's like it's their name. It's like Hags, but
Yeah, you can hide behind it a little
yeah,
bit, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
or but here it's like
It's
it's
all
me.
you. Yeah, yeah.
uh, and it's like pop ups are interesting in a way. Like here, like I feel like there's a big culture of them, just because like there's just a lot of cooks and chefs and stuff in New York City with like
Yeah, for sure.
who the four walls of a restaurant like don't really make sense to be working in, or like
Mhm.
they don't have the opportunity to like really express creativity through
Yeah.
a traditional kitchen. So there's just a lot of stuff here that is very like interesting. So I think part of me is like, whoa, like I've been to them and I'm like, damn, they're really good. So it's like the
Yeah.
bar is high here. The bar is really high.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I feel like this is the first time since, like, 2009 or 10 or whenever David Chang was, like, doing his thing and, like, Mission Chinese was getting started. I think it's, like, the first time since then where I feel like people are trying to break out of the mold of, like, get a cooking job, work up the line, then that
Yeah,
chef gets a restaurant, then that chef helps everybody else get it. You know what I mean? Like, people are, like, tired of it.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, I'll never friggin' be a
Yeah.
sous chef anywhere. It's like that seems like the worst job ever.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It being a I mean, being a chef is kind of a shitty job, but,
Yeah,
we at least we enjoy it, some extent, you know?
yeah.
But
So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, there definitely is a move like where it's like there are a lot of people like going straight from line cook to opening their own spot. Like, I think
yeah,
the old like working your way up the ladder seems like it's
yeah,
not really a thing anymore. At least
yeah. Seems
that
like it's
I
dying.
see, from my vantage
Which
point.
I like it. I think it's great. It's
I
way
think it's
better
great too.
than yeah, you don't need, like you said, that you don't need these 4 walls to, like, hold you. You can just open a restaurant anywhere you want, you know?
Yeah,
Open a restaurant in a restaurant.
yeah.
Do a
Open a
Mission
restaurant in
Chinese,
a
you know?
restaurant.
Yeah. So what's your plan going forward? You just gonna kind of do this dual gig for a while and see how it goes, or are you gonna see how the 18th goes and then go from there?
I think it's yeah, try to ride the line doing both
Okay.
for as long as I can.
Try to kill yourself in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Got
I feel like, I still have some stuff I want to like learn like in traditional kitchens.
Mhm.
Um, but I
Yeah.
feel like where I'm at is like there's a lot of like creative stuff and just like ideas that I feel like I don't really get to spend time on in the kitchen because like you're
Mhm.
just too
Head
busy
down.
doing other stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
and then it's like,
Yeah.
I think like part of me is like, I feel like I'm gonna get really bored if I don't have that creative outlet.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, all right, I'm gonna think of like my kitchen work as like that's like school still. Like I'm still learning what I
Yeah.
gotta learn.
That's a good way to think about it.
And
Yeah.
then it's like the pop up stuff is like recital time. It's like, all right, take what I learned and go see if
Okay.
people like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I think we'll leave it there, dude. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talking, man. It's been great.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right,
All
dude.
right.